Hello and welcome to the Fraud Friday podcast. Today we start off with the entire Coleman Report crew as they discuss the 7A Connect quarterly update. Bob and Lance then go over their top loan file review findings. Joseph Coleman gives us an overview on the National Rural Lenders Roundtable. And then we end our program with Delaney Sexton giving us her Fraud Friday bank frauds. Enjoy.
Welcome to Coleman Report Live, Fraud Friday edition. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Delaney, welcome. Lance, welcome. And Joseph, welcome. We got a ton of news. Where are we going first, Joseph? Let's talk about loan volume. Now, every quarter SBA does what they call a Connect call. That's why this is called the 7A Connect quarterly update. Highly encourage you to listen to it. Gives you a quick summary of what they're doing. Delaney, you listened in last time. How long does it last?
This one lasted, I want to say maybe an hour and a half, a little less than an hour and a half.
Questions. They also take your questions. So,
they do.
Yeah, it's a good resource. And the reason why I like to listen in is it tells you what their priorities are. Yeah. They don't come out and say, Lance, hey, worry about ABC, but they'll say when
on the Connect call, Bob, if they bring up a particular topic in the SOP or, let's say they talk about, in our reviews, we're going to look at XYZ, that's important for you as a participant lender to know.
Yeah. Delaney, what do we got here in numbers? And by the way, there's 2 calls a quarter. There's one for 7A and there's one for 504. And we publicize those, but you should get on the email list. You can get on through your local district, but somehow get on the list from SBA that you're aware of it. Delaney, what's happening with the activity? Up, down, medium?
So we're seeing that 7A lending is actually going down in both loan volume and in the dollar amount. But on the other hand, we're seeing 504 lending just continuing to skyrocket. Now this is a little bit outdated. They have released newer numbers, so we're over $3 billion in 504 loans and over 3,000. So the question is, do you think we might run out of 504 money?
Let's talk about the date first. This is from October 1 through when? What's the cutoff?
It's January 11th.
January 11th.
But there's new numbers from January 7th. January 11th.
So Lance, I cut you off. Go ahead. Are we going to run out of money, and what are our options?
Well, I think the 504 program absolutely, by the time we get to the end of the fiscal year, is most likely going to need some additional funding. In part, guys, the Fed's talking about 3 rate bumps. Small business owners who have real estate are hearing that, and they're saying, I need a 504 refi right now. And I think the smart commercial lenders are walking out to their customers and saying, hey, you've got this $3 million building. Here's a great way to lock in, 40% of your loan at a 25-year fixed rate. So, I not only is the volume up in 504, but I think the demand will continue to explode throughout the year.
And the appetite for the first lien is strong with individual buyers. There's not a major pooler out there, but that's something you can warehouse yourself or certainly sell it off to a participant. Lance, who doesn't want 50% loan to value?
Well, and Bob, Delaney and Joe, I think the 7A program is down a little bit. Some of that is due to all the money that's been flushed out into the system in the last couple years. But part of it, guys, is because 504 is doing so incredibly well. Bob, as a lender, there are a lot of times when you're weighing the 7A versus the 504. You're weighing the cost associated with 504 versus the cost associated with the 7A. Right now, if it's a commercial real estate project, there's not a whole lot to weigh. The interest rate improvement on the 504 far outweighs
it does, but don't forget on 7A you can write these as fixed rate loans. You obviously will take a hit in the secondary market, but Lance, even writing with fixed rate, 504 will still be a better option, correct?
I do think on any real estate project, whether new or refinance, right now the 504 loan based on the debenture rate, interest rate that we get is a great product for the small business owner. And it's an easier product. When you're a commercial lender, you're looking for a product that makes your small business customer happy. And right now the 504 product certainly would do that. And Bob, you're right. You could do a fixed rate 7A loan, but with the Fed saying, minimum of 3 increases this year, I don't think anybody's going to do a fixed rate loan. Not many.
But you can do that, and you can sell off both portions again. But that is an option. Anything else that we should be aware of, Delaney, from that call?
Loan-wise, no, I don't believe so. That was a big focus.
Yeah, they just mentioned that there's going to be a new SOP by the end of the year. That's the 5010. They also mentioned the 5057 might come out by the end of the year, but they've been talking about that for quite a while, as Lance and Bob know. So,
what does this mean, Lance? Return to normal program operations. What's that mean to you?
Well, I think returning from PPP. Guys, you were on and I had to pop off to handle PPP issues, and anybody who did a sizable number of PPP loans, it's not, we all thought when the program first came out in 2020 that we probably would be done with it by the end of 2020. And, all of a sudden we had round, 2 and 3. And, we were thinking at that point, maybe we're going to be done by the end of 2021. I'm questioning whether we're going to be completely done with PPP until sometime in 2023.
Well, absolutely. Capline assessment. I'm a huge fan of Capline. When you see assessment and review, what's that telegraphing you, Lance?
Hopefully what it's telegraphing, Bob and Joseph and Delaney and everybody on the call, is maybe an improvement in the requirements on monitoring a Capline.
Yeah.
The Capline is an excellent loan product, but one of the challenges is there are pretty significant requirements for the monitoring side of a Capline loan. So anything that would make that more efficient for the participant bank would be a good thing. So I hope that's what they're talking about, Bob.
We should add a poll question on this. What is the number one file review exception found by SBA? Right off the top, life insurance, Lance.
Well, it's important. Again, the SOP says we don't have to have a fully collateralized loan, but immediately after that, it says we need to take all available collateral. And in taking all available collateral, when we look at it, if it's still greatly under collateralized, we need to add a piece of life insurance. So, one of the big mistakes some SBA lenders will make, guys, is they will make what we all call an airball loan, one with very little collateral, and not have the life insurance.
Or not addressing it.
Or not addressing why they don't have it. You're exactly right, Bob. When I was at the Little Rock Center, a common servicing action we would address for lenders is there was a life insurance requirement on an SBA loan, and the borrower was an old guy like me and couldn't buy life insurance at a reasonable price, and they wanted to waive the requirement. That's absolutely fine, but you need to, here's the deal, guys. If the loan is not secured by taking all available collateral, you need life insurance on the guarantors as part of your SBA loan, period.
The number one exception also is, I think it's buried in here, is the lender fails to get the proper lien position on real estate and UCC. And you can all roll your eyes, but that's what SBA says consistently. Lance, you're not getting the right positions.
Well, and here's the thing, those positions need to match what's in the SBA loan authorization. And sometimes you may do a loan and close it, and as an example, you're supposed to have a second UCC on business assets. and you get to the closing and you run a UCC search and you find out you're going to be in third. And really, there was not a lot of collateral value anyway, guys. So you're okay with third, so you just move on down the road. That's really easy to fix. I mean, you can memo a loan authorization change and say, in closing the loan, we determined we could not take a second, but a third, but it doesn't really change the collateral value. Throw a little analysis in there and you're good. But let's say the same thing happens and you don't do the unilateral loan authorization change servicing action, you've got a problem when it comes to guarantee purchase.
And Lance and I have been preaching this for years. 3 things have to match, and it's very common that they don't, but the credit memo has to match, the loan authorization has to match disbursement. And that's,
Absolutely.
And again, there's nothing wrong with dispersing it, but you need to go back and put an addendum on the credit memo and get the loan authorization fixed, Lance.
Well, and I think, Bob, you making always want SBA lenders to think of the loan authorization as a living, breathing document.
Yeah.
And it can change.
Yeah,
And
so
what's important, what's important, Bob, is that you memorialize those changes with servicing actions to support them.
Joseph, big news with something called the Food Supply Chain Guaranteed Loan Program through the Department of Agriculture. Thomas Kimsey et al. With the National Rural Lenders Roundtable put that together. They had the input. They had all the USDA officials. What are they talking about? What's important for this?
Yeah, so this is a lot of the actors from the head office at USDA, BNI. The new RBS administrator, Dr. Karama Neal, was on, which is great. We partnered with Thomas to do a webinar. We have included that link. The full recording is in the handout right here. And more importantly, it's just a $1.4 billion loan guarantee program through the USDA that facilitates qualified borrowers to get supply chain so to make sure that the supply chain is working properly.
Define supply chain, Joseph. What are we talking about?
Supply chain is anything edible. So we're talking about the fringe stuff like hemp and everything can't be included, but anything that's in the food supply chain has to be edible is eligible, and they go through all the eligible requirements of how the lenders are going to participate in this program. The big standouts, 40 million maximum loan amount with the 90% guarantee. That's pretty eye-popping. I think USDA is still at 25, but 40 is a big number that got a lot of lenders interested. This is the lender benefits of expanding onto the secondary market. And if you have any questions, what I would do is contact the nice folks at Thomas USAF. They have all the answers, and also the USDA staff has been really open to taking questions and answering all of the lender requirements and eligibility stuff like that. So again, I included the full webinar recording. It was about an hour. They answered a lot of questions, and this is the Food Supply Chain Guaranteed Loan Program website where lenders can go and apply to be a part of it. So,
Joseph, I'm in urban Long Beach at the port here in LA, and I have a storage facility, some offices. Am I eligible for this program? Because I'm not in a rural county.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really it's the food supply chain aggregation, processing, manufacturing, storage, transportation, wholesaling, and distribution of the food supply. This is all to increase capacity. Yes, trucking is involved to create a more resilient, diverse, and secure U.S. food supply chain. No, that's a mouthful, but I would go to the website. There's in the recording, I've included the full PowerPoint in the handout, so you can check that out. That has all the contact information for all the players. Again, the administrator was on, Mark Kositsky, Aaron Morris, and Jeff Hudson, and Bill Broijic, our friend, facilitated and moderated the whole event. So it was a nice webinar, and they answered a lot of the questions for this new exciting program.
Yeah, check it out. It could be useful. And what's nice about this, Lance, is we can fund, if someone's maxed out an SBA, they can go for this program.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You could also do a pair or pursue with this program in SBA, whether 7A or 504, you can mix and match. Delaney, you're awfully quiet. What's going on with Fraud Friday? let's make Delaney earn her money here.
All right, so a former CEO of a company, Miss Donna Steele, executed an embezzling scheme from 2013 to 2020. Now, she's been working for them for 20 years. She started off in a lower position, and she eventually rose to CEO, vice president, some of those higher titles. Now, this whole time, she managed to take $15 million, and the way she did it are quite extensive. There was credit card purchases. I believe she got about $6 million, and retail store purchases, luxury hotels, buying things for family weddings. She even supported a family business that she founded in 2013. It's a high-end boutique. She wrote herself almost 100 checks. She did over 127 wire transfers through QuickBooks and 117 transfers from the company bank account directly into her personal bank account. Now, the interesting thing is she's actually been caught with fraud or embezzlement twice before, once in 1990 and once in 1995, where she did a very similar thing, tried to pay for her luxurious lifestyle, and she was convicted.
Wow.
There's not
So-
much to say.
Yeah.
Well, it does say something, Bob. When you run a small business and if you have somebody that's going to be involved in the management of your money, run a background check.
Yeah, you run the check, and also put in basic controls. Don't let her sign the account. And
Well, there's absolutely with the World Wide Web. Forget who used to claim they invented it, but with the internet today, you can look up and find out. I'm finding this out in managing PPP servicing. You can find out literally anything about anybody on the internet. So small businesses and participant bankers encourage your small businesses. If they're going to have somebody deeply involved in finance and they're going to hire them, run a background check.
And that's something that as lenders we should counsel, or also our friends over at SBDCs should counsel with that. Bridgeport Bank in Chicago, what's happening with that? This is very complicated, but basically, well, tell the story, Delaney.
It is quite an extensive story. So they've been, this has been going on for a while. There was an issue with about $66 million in non-performing loans. So they have several people on their board who were getting in trouble. Now, more recently, I think in the last week or two, there's a different situation where a councilman in Chicago was involved in this. He got 3 loans from this bank, and he made a total of 1 payment, and the president decided to get his employees to cover this up, saying he was making payments, paying the interest and whatnot. So we're seeing some of these employees start to plead guilty. The first employee plead guilty a couple days ago, but the rest of them are planning on doing it as well.
Lance, logistically, what they're doing is they're going in, they're set the note materials, they're simply rewriting the note and including the interest, and that's a no-no, correct?
Yeah, they're capitalizing the interest. Is this in Chicago?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious. Wasn't there a Mayor Daley in Chicago?
Yeah, he was the
Yes.
grandson of Daley, and he's also, politics are involved. He's also the son of the mayor, I think, right, Delaney? And
Yes.
And now he's an alderman or a council person. Anyway, there's a lot going on.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing, Bob, that we can all take away from this is in the SBA lending program, it is critically important. For instance, when you're doing refinancing in SBA, one of the most important phrases in the SOP is you cannot refinance a debt where the creditor that currently has the debt is in a position to take a loss. And that's something that not only should be in the SBA program, but any commercial or consumer lending program. You shouldn't refinance any debt where the current bank or institution that holds the debt is in a position to take a
Yeah,
loss.
as Lance says, your first loss is your best loss.
Absolutely. And 2022, Bob, is going to be the year of service.
Yeah, that's right. Real quick, Sonoma Valley Bank, I don't see a slide on that, but fascinating
apologize.
story. Delaney, you want to tackle that one again?
Yes, so many years ago, there are two bank officers. One is a CEO and the other is a chief loan officer. They got involved in a pretty big fraud scheme. I think they had more than 60 charges between the two. They were giving loans to this real estate developer. One of these loans was $35 million, which was almost $25 million over the lending cap that was set by bank regulators. And in addition, they were providing other loans to him through, I believe it's nominee borrowers or straw borrowers. So they ended up causing $47 million in losses. So with all of this being said, this bank failed, and now they're saying they were charged to 8 years and 4 months and $20 million in restitution. But now they're throwing that case out. An appellate group of judges got together and said that their case relied too heavily on them being blamed for the bank closing. But this was during the Great Recession. There was a lot of other things going on. So now they are walking free.
Well, walking free.
There will be a new sentence, but
but also the developer died, and but it's still, this is one of those where the feds went after again another community bank, and that's very interesting. I've not heard that where the judges throw out the sentence, but they did not void the conviction.
yes.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting about this story, I enjoyed reading it early this morning, but the thing that's interesting to me is the judges do show some common sense here, because they basically said the case, centered around these guys making the loans, and the loans were the reason the bank failed. And the judges looked at it and said, oh no, there were some other things that happened during the Great Recession that caused this bank to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a factor, but wasn't the sole factor. All right, great reporting, Delaney. Joseph, we're going to do our annual compensation survey. That should be released today. Our commitment to you, our promise to you, is if you fill out your title, we will send you your specific report free. And we'll have that up on the website today. So feel free to fill that out. It's all confidential. We don't release anything. We don't track IP addresses. We don't do any of that stuff. We just take the raw data and we look at it, and we throw out the high and throw out the lows, and we go from there. So Joseph, how many years have we done this now?
I need to look. I mean, the BDO goes back at least 16, 17, maybe even closer to 20. But we added all the full department of SBA lending professionals, which Lance, as you know, is becoming much more of a valuable skill set. I'm very interested to see the lender compensation returns from 2021. Just participate in the survey, and we get a ton of responses, and it's a very popular report that we generate.
We'll keep it open through probably through the end of February, and we'll plan on publishing it around 1st of March. Everyone have a nice weekend. Delaney, thank you very much. Good reporting, Lance. Good to see you. Joseph, as always. And thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Take care.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Tune into our Coleman Report live podcast to hear the latest about SBA 7A and 504 news from across the country. Thank you for joining us today for our Fraud Friday podcast and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time. This concludes our Fraud Friday podcast.